Hi there. I'm in British Columbia today. I'm in downtown Vancouver. I'm about to leave my hotel and head to court just down the street where we're going to be all day. Today, April 19th, tomorrow, April 20th, challenging the British Columbia government's unconstitutional vaccine passport policy, the policy which does not have accommodations for people who can't get vaccinated for a medical reason. I'm going to be speaking to one of the applicants, one of these individuals we're working with at the hearing today. If you have been following me on Twitter, I'll be live tweeting as much of the hearing as I possibly can. Can't wait to get there and tell you all about it.
Now there you go again. You say you want your freedom. Well, who am I to keep you down? It's only right that you should play the way you feel it. But listen carefully to the sound of your
We just wrapped up the morning in court in front of Chief Justice Hinkson. We're doing the vaccine passport challenge in British Columbia. And now I'm going to chat with one of the individuals that I've been telling you about. Her name is Erica, and she's one of the people who's been hurt by these discriminatory policies that exclude people from public spaces. She's going to chat with me now and answer a few of my questions. Hi, so we're here with Erica. Erica, thank you so much for everything you've been doing with the case. It takes a lot of bravery to put your name forward and stand up for other people who are in similar situations. So I want to start by saying thank you so much for being so brave and doing this. So I want to start by having a chat about what happened to you, what impact the vaccine passport policy had on you, and what happened. Let's start with what happened when you got your first dose.
So when I got my first dose, I felt fine at first initially, but I eventually developed some really concerning symptoms and was later diagnosed with pericarditis. And this meant that I was unable to receive my second vaccine because the chance of a reoccurrence is even higher. So I was unable to get any vaccines after that.
Yeah, so this was just about a year ago, right? And how old are you, Erica?
I'm 18.
So you were 17 at the time, or okay. So can you tell me what did it feel like when you first started getting symptoms of your adverse reaction?
Well, I started off by getting really tired. I got a sore throat and then later got chest pains that were so bad that even if I moved my arm, I would get a stabbing pain in my chest. So a few days later, I decided to go into the ER and I was really dizzy, really just exhausted. Felt like I had the flu. Um, yeah, I just felt very, very, very unwell.
And did you have any idea of what might be wrong?
So I had actually asked the doctors. I had seen some articles saying that there had been some cases of people having heart problems after the vaccine, and that's the first thing I asked them. And they actually said no at first. And then they ran some more tests and then confirmed I had pericarditis. So they had blood work, a CT, ECG, chest X-ray, and yeah, just a lot of tests to figure out what's going on.
And how are you doing now? Like how are you feeling? Have you recovered? Have you had any relapses?
I've had a big relapse in December. That knocked me out for a few months, and then a few weeks ago, I did have a flare. Right now, I think I'm doing okay. Stress definitely makes my symptoms worse. Um, so I'm definitely working on keeping my level of stress down. But other than that, I'd say I am doing well.
Okay, I'm glad to hear that. So I wanted to know how were you feeling emotionally when all of this was happening? Was it sort of scary to not know what was going on? And then on top of that, to find out that the vaccine passport policy that the British Columbia government was bringing in wasn't going to have any exemptions for people like you.
Yeah, it was quite concerning to me. I was not excited at all about having an adverse reaction, obviously. Um, and it was right before I was supposed to graduate, so I was stressing, trying to get all my schoolwork done. And then I had a good summer, and then the vaccine passports came out, and I was, yeah, pretty disappointed that there wasn't going to be any medical exemptions. I knew it would affect me more than the government probably thought it would. I knew that it would probably lead to being a bigger problem than they initially said it would be. I knew it would be extended to at least a few months. So yeah, I was um very disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, I think when they first said it, they said it was going to be a temporary measure, and it was in place from, I guess, August until April. So not that temporary, especially for a young person like you. I want to address something, which is, a lot of the time people in the public media will characterize people who aren't vaccinated for whatever reason as anti-vaccine, and you wouldn't call yourself that, right? What did you want to say about that?
I am exactly the opposite of anti-vaccine. I am in support of all vaccines, including this one, and I think it is the socially acceptable thing to do is to get vaccinated. But I respect that other people may not make that decision for themselves, and I think that's okay. But yeah, I think everyone should get vaccinated if they can.
But I mean, obviously you can't. So I don't understand the idea of the government trying to incentivize a person like you to try to get vaccinated when you're medically ineligible to be vaccinated. So after the doctors diagnosed you with pericarditis, or you'd had this adverse reaction, what happened next? I mean, did you consider going to get a second dose? Did they say you definitely can't get a second dose? What happened?
So they actually said to follow up with my doctor, and a few months afterwards, I got my vaccine when I was mostly recovered. We went to ask about it, and initially, my family doctor said yes, I can get the vaccine if I want to. And I had quite a dilemma because I was obviously scared of getting it, but I also thought that if there was a chance of a vaccine passport system being implemented, I was considering how it would affect me. So I went to the vaccine clinic. Well, my sister was going to get her second dose, and I was just going to see if there was one available, maybe. Just, I wasn't definitely going to get it. And then I went in there, and they had said, I had mentioned my reaction, and they looked at my medical records. And the day before, they had updated it to say that people who had pericarditis should not get the second dose of the vaccine. So I decided not to.
Wow, I mean that came pretty close to you getting it, and the thing is that the information is changing so quickly that it really, you don't know what could have happened if you'd gone through with it. So, Erica, when the government initially announced the vaccine passport policy, one of the things that shocked so many people, including us at the Canadian Constitution Foundation, is that Dr. Bonnie Henry said there will be no exemptions at all. So, for a person like you who's ineligible for a second dose, how did that make you feel? What did you think when you heard that?
I was pretty upset. I was worried about where I would be living next year if I wanted at school, like if I wanted to live on campus or if I even just wanted to go and see my friends, right? And I was thinking about what I could do to help prevent this from happening, to prevent this from affecting so many people. Um, so my mom did a lot of research and then found you guys, and yeah, we emailed you and we got things going.
Yeah, well, I'm glad she did, and I'm so glad that you're here. And we've been doing this hearing all morning. What have been your thoughts watching the Canadian Constitution Foundation's lawyer, Jeffrey, argue this morning? What are your main sort of takeaways from the hearing today?
I think he's doing a really good job right now. It's definitely hard, I think, trying to argue this. I think it's something that's controversial, and I mean, we're going against the government and what they're saying they think is right, and it's really tricky to try and convince someone what's right and what's wrong, especially because this is something that's so new. But I think what we're doing is really good right now, and I think we need to keep working until we can find a good solution.
Well, I think what you're doing is amazing, and I'm so proud that you're a part of the case. Um, One last thing. was that I heard that you lost your job because as a swim coach because you couldn't get vaccinated. Is there anything you want to say about what happened in that case?
There was an order that was in place in BC that said that all coaches, all volunteer coaches, had to be fully vaccinated, and I was an employee while I was coaching, but unfortunately, the board of the swim club, I don't think they understood that. They don't think they understood the order, and they eventually decided to fire me, which was quite upsetting for me. It was a source of income for me that I would be saving up to go to school and to live on my own. And it was a job that I really enjoyed. So yeah, it was quite upsetting for me, but I hope we can make it right.
Yeah, I heard that you're challenging that decision for them to fire you at the Human Rights Tribunal. Is that right?
Yes, I haven't heard back from the Human Rights Tribunal yet. I think they're pretty busy right now, but I'm hoping we can figure something out.
Well, I wish you luck in that case. And I want to thank you so much for everything you've been doing to fight for people who have experienced adverse reactions to the vaccine in British Columbia, which, as we've said, it's rare, but it does happen. And you're never going to achieve the goal of getting the public to accept vaccination if you pretend that adverse reactions don't exist, that they don't happen, and then treating people who have had them, like you, Erica, with the kind of cruelty that the British Columbia government has. So thanks so much for everything you're doing and for chatting with me about it today. Well, we just wrapped up our day at the BC Supreme Court in our hearing challenging the British Columbia vaccine passport policy for failing to accommodate medical exemptions. It was a really long day of hearings. Our lawyer, Jeffrey Trotter, did an amazing job. Tons of questions from the judge, Chief Justice Hinkson. If you want a play-by-play of everything that went down, you can check out my Twitter feed at @CVanGuyen. I have a minute-by-minute, sometimes second-by-second update about how the hearing went. We're going to be back in court tomorrow on April 20th, and if you follow me, you'll be able to catch those updates as well. Tomorrow, it's going to be the government making their submissions. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed today's video. And make sure you like and subscribe so you never miss one of these updates. Sign up for our email list at the ccf.ca/freedom updates. That way you will never miss an update and you'll be first to hear when we get a decision in this case.